All right, hello everybody. Welcome to Mine Basics. I just wanted to talk a little bit about some strategies for the mine and some common mistakes that hopefully you can avoid in your games. I don't know, just drop some guys down here. I don't know, one of the biggest mistakes I see new players making, right, is that I tell them, that you're jumping over people's workers, then they really latch onto this idea that no, I don't want anybody to jump over my workers, right? And so they start with their overseers stuck in these corners, right? Because then, you move your overseer, you put your worker down, and nobody's going to jump over that. It's in the corner. There's no way around that. And so obviously that has some good and bad things about it, right? Nobody can jump over that worker, so you're not giving anybody else that resource. But again, once you put down that worker, he's not doing anything else for you except increasing your overall worker count. So once you start, moving around like this and putting these workers down that are just going to be sitting there for the rest of the game, then you're going to increase, your turn order. You're going to be going last every single round. Now, things you can do to counteract that, obviously, is if you move enough times, then eventually you can form a strike. But again, that takes like 5 separate movements, and that's the entirety of a basic game. And then eventually, okay, yes, now I can go first again. And and even a bigger mistake is if you make a couple workers over here, and then, somebody moves over here, and then you say, oh, I want to jump that guy. And now you've got these 3 workers over here that are just doing absolutely nothing for the rest of the game. And so, I don't know. Hopefully that makes sense, and people can avoid that in the future. Right, so in a 2-player game, that can be a viable strategy, because if you're sitting over here building your workers up, right, your opponent also can't do anything about that either. He's got no workers to jump over either, so you're both just... It's a viable strategy to have both you and your opponent really starved for resources throughout the entire game. But it's really not a fun way to play, and you're not really getting the upper hand at all, right? I mean, you're both in the same boat, and neither of you is happy about it. Right, so I think it's much more interesting to get out here in the middle and actually try and outsmart your opponents and actually make it into a game, as opposed to just collecting one resource every round. And the other thing is, if you're playing in a game with more than one person, if you're in a 3 or 4 player game, you're over here collecting one resource every round. The other guys, they're going to be out in the middle of the board collecting 2, 3, 4 resources every move. And you are going to lose. You are going to lose badly in that situation. And so really, the mine, it's all about not getting stuck in a corner, but being out in the middle of the board, fighting for resources, trying to make the best move and outsmart your opponent. That's what the game's all about. So yeah, that's the basics of mine strategy. A couple more advanced tips. A lot of the mine action is about patience, right? So let's say, I don't know, you're in a situation like this, right? And you're purple. So purple has a move. Oh gosh, sorry. Purple has a move, and you think, okay, well, the best move might be to do something like this, to jump over this yellow worker, and then I get 2 resources and everything's great. But now you've got a group of 4 workers here, which isn't quite enough for a strike, and then yellow can come along and get 3 resources by doing that movement. And really, what the game is about is is exercising patience. Do you really need those 2 resources right now, or can you wait an extra turn and set up a much better move later? Right, so what I mean by that is, what if instead of doing that move first, maybe you moved this guy here, just to collect 1 resource. Now yellow has a move, and he's got no good moves to make. Right, you didn't give him that great move. Now he's got to do something else. Maybe move here. And now you can come along, and now you've set it up, so now you can take your big move to get 2 resources, and at the same time, now you've got a group of 5 workers, which forms a strike. Now they leave the board, and you're still denying yellow from any good movement. Right, so the game isn't always about taking that big move at every opportunity. It's about exercising a little patience, trying to outsmart your opponent, try to outmaneuver your opponent. Because now, once you formed that strike, now you're going to be going first much more often. Your opponent is getting denied plenty of resources, and you've definitely got the upper hand. So, anyway, hope that helps in your future games, maybe online or when the game ships. And thanks for watching.